Hello there. I'm back from my travels and the children are back at school, so it felt like the right time to do another video. As you know, didn't do any pickups in the last one, and it was just all about my childhood Master System collection. It's actually one of the most watched videos on the channel, so thank you everyone for paying attention to my childhood. But what have I been up to? Well, last week I said that I was going to be going off to the West Midlands with my middle child. We did that. We went to quite a lot of retro game shops. We targeted going to 6, but because of how much there was in the shops I went to, we only managed to do 4 of them. But got some really good pickups from there. And I said that he was going to have a surprise on the way home. I didn't say what it was in the video in case he watched it. That was a really good idea on my part because he watched it within 10 minutes of me putting it onto YouTube. But we took him to Cadbury World, which was a really nice day. It says that it's a self-guided tour, but you basically go to a room, sit down, watch a video, then they tell you go to the next room, sit down, watch a video. But then you also get to have a go at things like chocolate tempering and writing with liquid chocolate and stuff like that. So that part was fun. There's a couple of rides, but the thing that really caught me out was literally as soon as you kind of scan your tickets to go in, they give you free chocolate. Then you go on to a ride, you come off the ride, have a chocolate bar. And just, they kept giving us free chocolate and it just threw me a bit and I didn't have anything to carry it in. But we did that. We had 3.5 hours travel each way. My son had his first ever all-you-can-eat carvery, and there was a fantastic photo I got of him looking really regretful about every decision he's made in his life when he was halfway through eating it. I might put it there, but I might not because he might get embarrassed by it. So we've done that. Before I went there, I was still feeling really rough with the cold that I've been having. I did take myself off to Kings Lynn and got some decent pickups, which obviously are going to come in a minute. But other than that, I've picked up a couple of bits from eBay, a few bits from Vinted, obviously bits from West Midlands, and hopefully I'm going to be going back to the gym today for the first time in a couple of weeks because I feel physically able to do so. And work have told me they don't want me back for another 2 weeks, so I'm still going to be able to get myself out and about, and I'm hoping later this week to get myself down to Ipswich to go and see Sega Zombie at the Retro Realm. So yeah, that's a very brief update as to what's been going on for me. Let's get into the pickups, shall we? So, as I said, the first place I went to was Kings Lynn. And the reason I went there was because I'd been looking at UMD stocks in different CEXs. And there were like 6 in Norwich that I already don't want. There were 3 in Great Yarmouth. And Kings Lynn had 41. And as we know, I'm focusing on movies that I've not seen to pick up on UMD. So from CEX, I picked up, I think it's 13 UMDs for £11. We've got The Wedding Singer. Ooh, I'm picking up a lot of reflections here. And that is one that I've seen maybe the last 10 minutes of twice. So I'd like to see that. Hopefully it's a decent Adam Sandler one rather than just one where he shouts a lot. Then this is the most expensive one I picked up, which is The Devil's Rejects. No idea what that's about at all, but it's the nastiest, most savage and brutal movie you could ever want to see. So that sounds very much like my kind of thing. Then we've got Hotel Rwanda. Again, no idea what it's about, but it's one I've never seen. And this year I'm going to try and see as many films that I've never seen before rather than watching Jurassic Park 7 times. Then we've got Kung Fu Hustle. And I've seen a lot of Will Ferrell movies. I'm not the biggest fan of Will Ferrell, but I have got Talladega Nights now, which, from what I remember reading about at the time, Sacha Baron Cohen is really good in it. And I tend to like movies where he's being funny rather than trying to be serious. So we'll see how that goes. We've got Will Smith in Hitch, which it's rom-com really, isn't it? Although it says Will Smith stars in this year's funniest comedy. So hopefully it will actually be funny. Again, this one, I've got no idea what the film's about, but the line separating the living from the dead has been crossed in White Noise. Again, this is one that I've seen about many times over the years, but never actually watched, and that is The Descent. Daredevil caving holiday. 6 girls are trapped underground when an unexpected rockfall blocks their exit. And then there's hungry predators chasing them. And yeah, sounds fun. Then I've seen, again, probably about 10 minutes of this one. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Which, the little bit I've seen was funny enough. So hopefully the whole film is funny. If it's not, then it's only, what, 50p that I've thrown down the drain. I've wanted to see this one for a long time as well, and that is The Fog. And I'm really sorry I've not taken the stickers off because they've just been sitting on my bedside table for the last week, and I've not got around to it. Then we've got Kiss of the Dragon, which looks like your standard kung fu movie. Not much to say about that. Then we've got Keanu Reeves as Constantine, which I think, isn't that based on a comic? Let's see. Based on characters from the DC Comics Vertigo Hellblazer graphic novels. So, comic-based movie, they tend to be alright. Are they? And then we've got Be Cool, which is the sequel to Get Shorty. I've never seen Get Shorty, so do I need to have watched that before I watch this, or can I just go straight into it? Because it doesn't strike me as the best comedy that I could ever watch. But it features a hot soundtrack, including the Black Eyed Peas and Christina Milian. This is one movie too cool to miss. So those are the UMD pickups from Kings Lynn. I've also picked up a Vinted purchase of UMDs as well. That one, it was originally for sale for £13, and I offered the seller £11, and they rejected that offer. So I left it, and then a few days later, I had a notification come through to say it had been reduced to £10. So I picked it up straight away. And comparing the prices of these with the prices in CEX, I've actually got a bargain here. But whereas all of those ones are movies that I've never seen before, there are a few in here that I have seen before. So the first one we've got is one I've never seen before, which is Donnie Brasco, which, reading the synopsis on the back, that sounds like it could be a real quality movie. It's got Al Pacino and Johnny Depp in it, and it's like a CIA agent infiltrating the mob and then getting the trust of Al Pacino, and then kind of having to work alongside him while also betraying him, and it sounds pretty cool. I did get a second copy of Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, so that will just go in my pile of duplicates, which will eventually get traded into CEX for about 16p. This is a movie I've not seen since I was about 11 or 12, and that is The Fifth Element, and it's one that I keep meaning to rewatch because it strikes me as something that I enjoyed when I was younger, but I can't remember why I enjoyed it. Very sorry about that. Then we've got one that everyone has seen, surely. It's one that I've watched for my Mega Drive collection. And that is Home Alone. I used to do a really good impression of Macaulay Culkin when I was about 8 or 9. But those days are gone because it doesn't really work now. Then we get on to one that I know that I saw when I was about 15 with my mum. I remember the explosion at the beginning, and that's about it. So I'm treating it as one I've not seen before. That is Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman. Then we've got Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe in Body of Lies, which I have no idea what this is about, so it'll be a good one to watch. And then finally, one of the greatest movies ever made that I got on video for Christmas or my birthday when I was about 4, and that is Ghostbusters. Who doesn't love Ghostbusters? If you don't love Ghostbusters, we might not be able to be friends. Sorry. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the West Midlands pickups separately so I can go through what I got in each shop. But I have been to Last Level in the last week, and I picked up the original Xbox Far Cry Instincts. I like Far Cry 3, 4, 5, not so much 6. I've never played number 1, but it turns out I already have this one in the collection. but it was only £2, so it's not too much of a loss. And then I thought, it's been quite a while since I last picked up anything for the GameCube, so I picked up Hulk for the GameCube, which it looks pretty much like your kind of mid-noughties crappy movie tie-in. So we'll see how that one goes. One thing I don't talk about much on these videos is my music taste, because it goes all over the place on a regular basis. But one band that I've been really into for the last few months, and you may have noticed from my choice of t-shirts at times, is Kiss. I don't know why, it's just really, they've got in my head. And I was reading Retro Gamer the other week, and in Ian Lee's column, not commentary, he mentions Kiss Pinball, and it apparently was described at the time as not having enough Kiss for Kiss fans and not enough Pinball for Pinball fans. Up until that point, I didn't know that Kiss Pinball existed for the PlayStation, so I went straight onto eBay and picked up a copy of Kiss Pinball. So I like pinball games, I like Kiss, hopefully I'll enjoy it despite the contemporaneous reviews. But now we'll get on to the Mega Drive pickups that didn't come from West Midlands. So the first one is a quick eBay pickup. That is Theme Park. I've not played any theme park game for a good 30 years. So if I do this, it'll be a complete relearning of how to do it. The favourite kind of theme park building game I've ever played is Jurassic Park Evolution. And I absolutely loved it. But it's one of those games where you'll say, I'm just going to have a quick half hour on this, and then all of a sudden it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So we'll see how I get on with it. Then we've got one of those games that everyone had when they were younger, apart from me. I have played it though, because I recognise the top-down view for everything, and that is World Cup Italia 90. I'm pretty sure that's on one of the Mega Games compilations, but as I'm very slowly, Glacier-like, going for the full Mega Drive collection, that's going to be a nice one to just fill a hole. I had a few Blu-rays, and I had the UHD copy of Cutthroat Island that I bought for the Mega Drive collection to trade into CEX, because that is a god-awful movie. Absolutely awful. But I used them as part exchange to pick up Golden Axe 2 for the Mega Drive. I've never played number 2. I've played number 1 hundreds of times because it's on the Mega Games compilation. Don't know how much better or worse number 2 is, but it's just proper arcade Mega Drive game. Their arcade conversions tend to be pretty good, so I'm looking forward to giving that a go. Then a couple of pickups from Last Level in Norwich. First of all, I will go with Micro Machines Turbo Tournament 96, which means the only Micro Machines game I don't have now is the military one, and I've missed out on eBay on that at 3 times in the last week. Really frustratingly, I missed out on one where it sold for £26, and eBay said that my highest bid was £25.27, when I'd actually hit their little button to bid for 27, so I should have won that on bid, but I didn't, and it's really pissed me off. But I will continue to try and get Micro Machines Military, so that I've got all the Micro Machines games. And then the last one of these pickups is a game I've only ever played on the Atari Lynx, and that is Clax, which you've got to like move the base around while different coloured blocks are falling down, and then match them to make them disappear. It'll be interesting to see how this translates to a bigger screen. I'm pretty sure it started out in the arcades anyway, so it should be pretty good for doing that. So yeah, I've not played Clax for about 30 years. So it's a puzzle game, it's not columns, it's not Tetris, so we'll give that one a go in the near future. So now we go on to my trip to Birmingham. It was a 3.5 hour trip to get to the first shop. We did it in one go. My son had breakfast in McDonald's and then took some pancakes for the road as well. So as I've already mentioned, he really struggled with food for the whole trip, but that's because he kept eating so much. I went with a budget for the whole time I was away, including Cadbury World, and I think I went over budget by about £30 in total, and that included getting presents for everyone in the household. So as far as my spending goes, that's a pretty good deal. So the first shop we went to was in a town called Halesowen. I may have pronounced it wrong, and it's called Vintage Gamer. And you go in, and it looks like your standard retro game shop. Then you step a bit further in, and there's just a massive wall of Mega Drive, a massive wall of Master System. Then along there's a massive wall of Spectrum stuff. And then you go around the corner, there's other rarities. There's cabinets with rare and interesting things in there. Then you think, oh, that's it. Then you go through another door. There's a full room, literally stacked floor to ceiling around all walls, of PlayStation and Xbox. Then you go through another room and there's big box PC games. And then you get back towards the front door, and then you get all of like the modern PlayStation games and the PSP. Then there's a cabinet full of Atari Jaguar, including sealed Atari Jaguar stuff. So I was expecting to spend maybe half an hour in there. I was in there for a good hour and a half just looking at this stuff. I did pick up a few games in Vintage Gamer, and it's one of the best retro shops I've ever been to. So the first thing I picked up was, as I've already mentioned, I'm a big fan of Jurassic Park, and I've picked up Warpath Jurassic Park for the PlayStation, which basically looks like a Jurassic Park beat 'em up, where you're using different dinosaurs to fight each other. So what's not to love about that, especially as it's Jurassic Park? I'm pretty sure I had just the case for this before and was only after a disc, but I just wanted to get it. With these games and the other stuff that I picked up, which included, I think, Tamagotchi Life for Christian, the price labels came up to 85. I got to the till and they were like, well, we'll charge you 10 for that, do that, and charged me 70 quid rather than the 85 I was expecting to pay. So good deals all around. One game that I've been after for a while, even though it doesn't come across as the most exciting game in the world, is FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup. It was released right at the very end of the Mega Drive's life, so it didn't sell anywhere near as much as the other FIFA games, and I've spent ages trying to come up with a decent quality copy for a decent price. It's all complete, and the case is in lovely condition, and that was only £20. So again, very happy with it was priced at £20. I'm not sure how much they took off that one, but that was really nice. And then this one I'm really pleased to have picked up, not because of what game it is, but because of the case. So I've now got Budokan for the Mega Drive, but it's in the old EA like clamshell rather than the more modern case. These cases are much more brittle plastic than the others, and it's much more difficult to find them in good condition. And we're literally talking, other than the sticker on there, it is in absolutely lovely condition, and I'm really pleased to have a proper old EA case in the collection. I can't remember what town it was in, but the next town we went to had a game shop called Old School Gaming, and this one probably is the best game shop I've ever been to. They did at one point have one shop that did games on one side of the road and then Pokemon cards on the other, but they're both in the same shop now, and the Mega Drive selection was absolutely amazing. All of their retro was amazing, and I ended up standing and chatting with the bloke in there quite a while after I made my purchases. I didn't buy a huge amount in there because I knew I had other shops to go to, but I could have spent my whole budget and more in there. The thing I forgot to ask about when I was in there was they had the pink Lethal Enforcer's gun boxed. There wasn't a price on it, and I forgot to ask because I got so busy chatting. But the pickups that I did get in here were... Now this game I did actually buy on eBay last year for about half of its going rate, including shipping. and then it mysteriously got lost in the post, and they gave me a refund without any quibbles whatsoever. So I was rather pissed off. But I have now got Marco's Magic Football, which looks like a general 2D side-scroller, but your weapon is you kick a football at things. I like football. I like cartoon-based games. Should be a match made in heaven for me, surely. But we now have another game for the Mega Drive movie collection, which brings us down to having 10 left to go. I didn't watch the movie before buying it, but I couldn't turn it down at the price that I bought it for, because I've been eyeing it up to get it imported from Australia, and oh, there's something covering up that part of the camera. Oh, and I was looking at spending at least 70 on this. I spent less than half of that on it. The movie I watched the other day, and it's instantly forgettable. It is dull as dishwater, and I'm happy for anyone to come in the comments and tell me that it's not, and that it's an amazing movie. It's got Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, and the game is Universal Soldier, which my understanding is it is basically a reskin of Turrican 2. I've never played any of the Turrican games. I've never played Universal Soldier, so there's more of my gaming knowledge to be gained from this. Yeah. So, from there, we went to another town about 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, somewhere around that, called Get Gaming. And it's this really tiny little shop, just on a nondescript high street in a small village. And it had the biggest Wii U selection I've ever seen. Nothing that's needed for over there, unfortunately, but comfortably the biggest Wii U selection I've ever seen. But me being me, rather than going for anything I would normally go for, I've gone for a couple of games for the Spectrum. They are based on movies, and they are nicely boxed. They're not the best movies, they're probably not the best games, but I just liked the look of the boxes. So we've got Gremlins 2 for the Spectrum, which is nicely boxed. I've not taken it out of the bag yet, but you can hear the tape rattling in there. And I've also picked up Ghostbusters 2. So those are another couple to add in there. And then the last shop we went to is called Sega Supplies. And you go in, there's not very much on the shelves at all. Given it's called Sega Supplies, they had one Mega Drive game on the shelf and about 8 Master System, and it was mainly like PS2, Xbox. I think there was a full rack of Xbox 360. But it didn't really set my pulse racing. And then the bloke goes, oh, there's more stuff in the back if you want to have a look at it. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll come have a look. And he leads you through to the back, and the back is literally like a couple of rooms in his house, which are being used as a storeroom. You go in and it's like a living room with a fireplace and everything, with just games and stuff scattered all over the place. And then you basically go through his kitchen to go through another room, and there's more stuff in there. And he did give me a couple of really good prices on things. So I'll start off with a VHS that I've added to the collection. This is one that I remember watching, again, probably about 30 years ago. And that is Lord of the Flies on VHS, which it's not going to excite everyone watching this, but I'm really pleased to be able to watch this version of it again, because I only remember as far as Porky being killed by a rock being thrown at him. Sorry if that's a spoiler for anyone who's not seen a film that's at least 40 or 50 years old. Sorry, I didn't do a spoiler warning. But the two games that I've picked up are... I did say last week that I was going to do more for the Master System now that I've shared my childhood collection. So the first one that I've added is Marble Madness, which I remember my cousin having for... It would either be the NES or the Mega Drive. And I just remember, despite the fact that it is literally... you are guiding marbles through a maze, it was so much fun and so exciting to play. So that's a good one that will be getting played. I am thinking of taking a bit of a break from games for a day and getting myself the Master System converter so that I can play Mega Drive games on Master System games on the Mega Drive, so that I can just pack away the Master System for now and keep everything a bit more neat and tidy. But then finally, this game I've been trying to get hold of for a decent price for ages, but on eBay it's going for at least £10 at the moment, and I picked this one up for £3. That is Premier Manager 97. So it'll be interesting to see what players are in there. I mean, we're looking at, for the Newcastle team that's on the back, we've got Hislop in goal, Barton, Watson, Peacock, Gillespie, Lee, Ginola, and you've got a front three of Beardsley, Ferdinand and Aspria. So that's pretty much the era when I first started getting into football. So that is ideal. How much play that will get compared to things like Football Manager, I'm not really sure. But it's another Mega Drive game off the list. I'm not sure how many Mega Drive games I've added. I'm not sure what the total is. But there are going to be more games getting added in the next week, because I have, as a little bit of a teaser for next week's video, I have spent the most on a single game that I have ever spent in the last couple of days. And it is a movie-based game. So if you want to have any predictions as to what game that's going to be, please chuck it down in the comments. But as usual, this is the end of the video. Thank you ever so much if you've lasted this long, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.